Now we're on our way to Indianapolis Motor Speedway, the first time after 106 years of the Indianapolis 500 running. They're going to be screening for weapons, and over 350,000 people are going to enter this raceway today. And GXC has been tasked with the responsibility and the privilege of helping facilitate that safe passage. We have a total of, I want to say, 91 detectors that are set out and ready to go in different configurations, all of them different capabilities, and all of it tuned to the specifications of the Indianapolis Motor Speedway's safety guidelines. So we're just excited to go. It's 3:50 in the morning, so we have to be there before the bulk of the crowd, make sure everything gets set up, and it's kind of a big day.
Taxes was feeling so stuck.
Race day, it ends up being 350,000 people plus staff plus vendors. You're really talking about, on race day, the Indianapolis Motor Speedway itself becoming the second largest city in the state of Indiana. And to kind of put into perspective how big the Indianapolis Motor Speedway is, and help me out, it was, you could take Yankee Stadium, MetLife Stadium, the Vatican, Churchill Downs. There's massive venues that you could fit inside this place, and all those I just listed, and there's still plenty of space for the for the 5 or 6 others. It's just, until you see it, and until you see it from a bird's eye view, it's just nothing like it. Our job as protection specialists is to detect, deter, delay, deny, or devalue an attack. And it's very rare in every circumstance, and especially one like this where you have a couple 100,000 people entering the facility. You can detect a threat, you can deter it, you can delay it, you can't deny it, and we certainly can't devalue it, because there's just too many people, right? So you have to choose which countermeasures, which processes are going to best serve you to get as many of those D's that you can. And there's a lot of work that goes into that. I think sometimes people see a metal detector and they just assume, you know, hey, this doesn't catch my pocket knife, this equipment's not good, or, you know, hey, why is this person having to walk there after they set off the detector? Why can't they go here? All of those inches, all of those feet, all of those very small micro settings that we have to change and adjust in real time, they all mean something. And the moment somebody who hasn't been part of that process, and I typically narrow it down to 3 things: the data, the experience, and the education. If you don't have those 3, it's very difficult to make any changes or modifications to a screening process or to a screening platform. And that's one of my concerns, is that, you know, without that knowledge, without that experience, and without that understanding, that you can impact things greater, and then it's all going to fall on us. So it's not really nervous, more curious to see how everyone's going to interact, see how everyone's going to move. The fans, is, you know, the first time ever that they're screening, and we've watched in the 3 weeks leading up in testing, you know, multiple guests who have been coming here for 20 years. Some of them are great. It's about time, finally, you know, we're doing some screening, we're keeping the bad stuff out, and you get others that are, you know, my freedoms. and I get that too. I understand you should, you know, if you're a responsible person and you want to carry things that you like to protect yourself or to, you know, serve you better as a person, I get that. But, you know, there are people out there that want to do harm, and it's our job to keep the threat out, keep it at bay. And if it makes it to that doorstep, that's where those countermeasures you start stacking, and the teams that come together to keep the place safe, that's where it all comes together. It's almost like a last line, because all we have to do is make sure it stays out. You know, you're never gonna completely reduce or eliminate risk. Addressing risk is it's almost like a continuum. For every action, there's an equal opposite reaction. Every countermeasure you put in place, there's somebody looking to defeat it. And that's not just security, that's anything. So we've put a lot of work and a lot of time into doing this, and the teams, like I said, we've been here since May 10th or 11th going through this testing, and it's really going to be interesting to see how all that comes together to get these fans in safely and keep this place secure. Good morning.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Y'all have a good day.
Thanks. We are here. Race day is already underway. So we've been staged in this warehouse for the last 2 weeks or so. This is where we built out the 56 open gate detectors and 33 additional PMD2 pluses, which are going to be used as secondary screening. Typically, what most people see when they go to an event is, you walk through a metal detector and then there'll be somebody with a handheld metal detector ready to screen you if you set off the detector. But because of just the pure volume, we created a process where we separate the guest from their bag, have them walk through another detector to clear their body quickly, and the officer will do a secondary search of the bag to make sure it's safe. So this is where we set up. We have all detectors, accessories, supplies, batteries, charging stations, radios, everything needed. The amount of logistics for something like this is kind of insane. Forgive the mess, it's a work in action. But yeah, for the last 2 weeks we've been here just configuring all the detectors for optimal performance, and I think we're about there. And then the crazy part about this is that we've had 2 weeks to set it up, but at 1 o'clock we have about 2 hours to tear it all down, and this track is 2.5 miles around, and we certainly don't have the logistics we had building up, so it'll be very cool to see how we tear this down so fast. So even though we have a golf cart, it takes forever to get anywhere. You think about each side of the track as a 3/4 of a mile. I think with the cart you'd get there pretty quick. You don't. So they're saying that once 9:30, 10 o'clock comes, we're not going to be able to move anywhere along Georgetown Road. Where we're coming up on right now is gate 9. It's the second largest gate, or the second largest throughput for the entire venue. So we have our countermeasure program manager going to be stationed here. She works a lot with this equipment, and we're heading down Georgetown Road. The interesting about Georgetown Road is we have not been able to make that, to put that setup out at any point, because Georgetown Road is closed. It's an open city street every single day except for at 5 a.m. on race day. So it'll be interesting to see us have to roll out the configuration. It's a very basic configuration, but knowing how much of the street we can use and getting everybody used to doing this, as I said before, it's going to be difficult. Everybody has experience, but nobody's done this before, so it's interesting.
Have you always had trouble with your weight? Me too.
Discover
Now the key here is when you're queuing and moving this many people, you have to keep them in a straight line. And when you have an alarm rate of anywhere from 4 to 5%, you got to participate. That 4 to 5 out of every 100 people are going to have to go to secondary screening. So if the vast majority are not stopping, you need to make sure you create a path for them to keep moving. And it sounds a little rudimentary, but I think it's one of the most overlooked parts of queuing people. You can look for the perfect configuration based on your setup, but you have to test it. You have to make sure it works. You got to make sure that people clearly understand the most optimal conditions don't ever exist. You have to work at them every single time. So these detectors will get through up to 3,000 per hour. In order to allow the detector to do its job, you have to create every single optimal condition you can. You know, there's going to be people that won't go through the detector, whether they have a medical issue. You're going to see a lot of strollers, carts, roller coolers, things like that you don't want going through the detector because it's going to set it off regardless. So you need to create those gaps, but also give them enough time to go to the secondary process and do a further check. So it's looking like gate 1 is just about set up. This is going to take in, this is the most active gate throughout the entire day, throughout the entire event. Ready to go. You can feel free to step up here and just take a look. It's pretty intense. And just imagine this with 350,000 people. And what's really wild is that a mile the other way, there's 80 to, 75 to 80,000 people that you can't even see or hear. It's just unbelievable. We got 30 minutes. We got 6 more gates to do. All right, we're going next gate. This one's good.
Hey, my name's Matt. We're just going around checking all the different gates around Indy 500 and just making sure all of our lights are green, everything is good. We're going to be doing battery management and making sure that the security officers are doing what they're supposed to be doing. It looks like everything's good here, so we can move on from this gate and focus on the busier gates and come and check these periodically, make sure we're good to go.
So right now I'm scheduling out the Net ID reports, which is a cloud-based website that allows the customer to have information on the number of transits, alarm rates, being able to tell very specifically down to what metal detector had the alarms, had the most transits. So that is very great for the customer. They love it. We send reports out every hour and it allows us to reflect on what occurred. I'm at gate 9. It is the busiest gate. We have 12 open gates, 6 PMDs, a lot of people, and we are doing great so far. I can actually tell you the number of transits so far. 697 people in less than 30 minutes.
So I think the hardest part about an event this size and GXC bringing in the CHEA detectors in order to do this is matching the security level with what your crowd's being allowed to bring. In an event like this, we see a very different level of material allowed to be brought in, rolling coolers, chairs, strollers, etc. What GXC was able to do was match the right security level for the crowd that's coming in. Being that this is an event that's never been screened before, this is the best way to start an event this size. You start at a certain security level, you allow them to adapt to the operation that's going on here, and then as IMS or Indy wants to apply additional security levels, they can slowly start restricting what guests are allowed to bring into the event. But when you start for the first time, having something as able-bodied as an open gate and adjustable and customizable allows them to meet whatever the crowd is going to expect and allow them to get the largest sporting event on the planet to fill into the stadium. 350,000 people screened is roughly 3 football fields, right? So using the open gates in this way is the perfect application for the open gate, and it's the perfect level of security for this type of event.
So the open gates from Chea are a game changer when it comes to security. We do all bag checks, cooler checks here. The fact that there's technology to screen it, we normally would have backups here roughly around 35 minutes at this point, and right now we have no lines whatsoever. People are coming right in. We're not having to violate their private space of their purses and their backpacks. This device just scans it for them.
Was this your first time at Indy?
27th.
What was it like going through the security gate?
A lot easier.
A lot easier?
You don't have to have your cooler checked or any of that stuff, so much smoother process, no lines.
A lot easier. They didn't check our bags. It's like we already know the protocol, but it was good. It was gravy. Right in, right out. Awesome.
Easy.
Perfect. Easy peasy, baby.
Is this your first time at Indy?
No, I've been here 35 times.
35 times?
Something like that.
What did you think about the new security line coming in?
Much simpler than in the past. We walked right straight through, so it was awesome.
Is this your first time at Indy 500?
No, it's my 44th. Sorry, 47th. I lost track.
What did you think of coming through the new security gate?
Oh, it was great. Yeah, I've been doing it all month, and it works great.
Want to know how I protected my team's focus time and got 50% more done? Managing projects.
Hi, I'm John Sands. I'm Vice President of Sales and Marketing for GXC. We got the business in January. February, we were here meeting Roger Penske personally in the boardroom. We had to stare him right in the eye and say, we can pull this off, we can do this, we will make you look good as a track owner. And we had a couple more months to plan it, and we did it, we pulled it off.
I am Angela Washington. I'm the Chief Operating Officer for GXC. I've been with the company since its inception. I run the day-to-day operations. All of the planning and preparing that has gone into this, I knew this day could only go one way, and it did exactly that. So we started out about with 15 rental units in, I think it was 2017, 2018, and now we have a fleet of over 80 units together, and we're able to put on this huge event. I'm just proud of my staff, proud of the way everybody executed, and I mean, we made history.
I am Jessie Cavazos. I am the Chief Financial Officer here at GXC. I have been kind of behind the scenes for most of this event, so to be here today and to see the team, how they prepared and executed, it was so exciting. I am so proud of them. I am proud to be part of this, and we heard from many people that this couldn't be done, that this event was too big to be screened, and we did it. So it was fantastic, and I'm so proud of everybody.
Oh, how many laps are left?
20-something?
20-something? Okay. Oh, I hope they're pulling 6B off, because it was still in George Washington. Anybody? Okay.
Okay. You ready?
Maybe. I don't know what I'm doing.
You got it. Look here, ignore him.
Okay.
Okay, we're rolling whenever you're ready.
What am I don't know what's...
Your name, your role at the company, and how you felt today went.
Oh, okay. All right. Okay.
Okay, you ready?
Yep.
We're rolling and good.
All right. I'm Allison McHenry. I am the Events Program Manager here at GXC, and I do all the logistics behind all the events. All these open gates, all these PMDs, they were all at rentals, they were all at different customers, and I had to make sure they all made it here, we had enough here. And to see it all come through, and just, it's been amazing. It's been really hard. It's been a lot of logistics and just knowing exactly what's where, and do we have everything? Do we need everything? And that's what I really enjoy doing, is making sure that we have everything. So it feels really good that it's done, but it's very, I'm actually really speechless because now it's sinking in that it's done. So I'm really excited, and I'm really also excited to sit down too.
Hi, my name is Megan Sugar. I was a part of GXC working on the Indy 500. I feel amazing about today. It feels awesome to be a part of something bigger than myself, and to know that we got over 300,000 people into the facility safely is very heartwarming.
I'm Matt Hempfling. I'm the Business Development Officer for GXC. Today was an amazing day. I think 10 years from now, when we look back, this is going to be the watershed moment of this company. It was a huge project. Everybody worked so hard. It was a great experience, amazing day, record-breaking day. We're super happy, and we want to come back every year and make this a regular occurrence.
My name is Lane Sands. I'm a sales account manager at GXC, and I also double as a technician. I think today a lot of us were anxious because, of course, it's never been done before. But after all the work that we put in and the fruits of our labor, we know that this was a big success, and it's just going to keep growing.
It's not often that I'm speechless, but this day has been just one of the most unbelievable experiences of my life. It's the culmination of stepping out of my comfort zone and pursuing what's important to me. And what's important to me, and it's been important to me ever since I stepped foot in the professional world, my first day of boot camp being 9/11. Protection's always been at the forefront, and we can now say that we have done something no one has ever done in history. We did something that nobody thought could be done, and by all accounts and feedback from the customer, we surpassed their expectations, and to be honest, surpassed my own. I could not have possibly done it without my team. We have a tremendous group of professionals who stopped at nothing and worked 12 to 16-hour days for 10 days straight to get this done. And I'm just really thrilled to be part of history, and we're going to see you next year.
Best attendance probably ever on a sunny day, with people bringing in coolers, sunscreen, 12 packs of beer, and to keep coming in and to get them in this place so they can be in time for green flag. We're like, whew. But after meeting you guys and talking with how committed you guys were, we were pretty determined, yeah, they're going to get done, because that's a team that's committed. And like I told Janera, we're happy. We didn't buy the device, we wanted to buy the team, and that's what we got. So thanks, guys. Appreciate it. Thank you.
Go. All right. Welcome everybody. Welcome everybody to the town hall. This is our first quarter town hall. Excuse the New York accent there. This is our first quarter town hall for 2025. A lot of you are probably seeing me or meeting me for the first time here. And I appreciate your patience. We have done these town halls for the last 3 quarters in a row because I find it's a very good way to be able to speak to the team quickly, effectively, share what's going on, because it's important to me that everybody knows the organization that they're part of. There are a lot of reasons we do this. First and foremost, number 1 is communication. Number 2 is clarity. It's not often that I get to bend your ear or you get to bend mine. So all the things that get said, are believed, are passed around, I like to provide clarity on things and give everybody an opportunity to understand what's real. And finally, cohesion. We were asked before many times, how can people working remotely, working from afar, how can they be brought closer, be brought onto the team to understand what the organization does? And I found that this is probably the best way to do that. So, yeah, we'll be doing these quarterly. As we've done this more and more, the questions that come in have risen, which is great. They're going to answer every single one that we possibly can, and keep these moving. All right. Since the last time we met in the December town hall, we have added roughly 150 new teammates to GXC. So real quick, just want to go through the organizational history here. We started back in 2017. Started at my kitchen table in Woodstock, Georgia, moved back to New York, where I'm born and raised, and started getting to work on creating this organization. Initially, I was focusing on two primary lines of business, which were assessment and risk mitigation strategies, which is basically a fancy way of saying see a risk, understand the vulnerability, qualify if there's a threat, conduct risk management, reduce the threat, mitigate the vulnerability, and prevent an organization from facing the consequences of a successful attack. The other line of business was security, technical, and administrative contractual services. And I came across that document not too long ago, and I hadn't looked at it since 2017, and it's really cool to know that that plan I wrote way back then is literally exactly what we're doing now. So it's a nod towards the vision, and when you know what you stand for, you don't have to convince people, right? They know what you do. So over the last 7, it will be 8 in January of 26, we'll turn 8. In the last 7, nearly 8 years, we have managed to go from a one-person shop to nearly 400 people, and it's pretty dang impressive. And the caliber of people that we bring in and the work that we provide is really important work. It really is, and I'm going to go through all of it so everybody has an understanding of what everybody here does. Couple notes about our leadership team. So I'm the Chief Executive Officer. Hello. The Chief Financial Officer is Jessie Cavazos. She oversees the finance department, which is headed by Wendy Romanello, who's our finance director, and she also oversees the HR division, HR department, which is led by Director Lauren Hempfling. Matt Hempfling is our Chief Business Officer. He oversees our account management team, and we'll get into what they do here in a little bit. I oversee operations, although I am looking to eventually get a Chief Operating Officer that'll stick around and kind of help carry the load, because we have a very complex operation across a bunch of different verticals and industries, and it's important to me that we provide support to our team. So the operational component in GXC is made up of 2 different divisions primarily. It's going to be our protective security division, which is led by Jason Martinez, and our countermeasure division, which is headed up by Mr. Joshua George. Those 2 operational components make up, obviously it's all we do. And within each one of those divisions, there are different contracts, industries, sectors that we operate with different staff members and different technical team members. It's important everybody knows this, and because I hear a lot of the disappointment when I finally do get to coming back around, or if I've not met you yet and I show up, I always get the same tongue-in-cheek response, like, "Oh, good to see you," or "What took you so long?" or "Hey, forgot about us?" And the answer is none of those. I'm not purposefully waiting long. I'm not trying to avoid anybody. If I could have it my way, I would be in the field every single day. I'm evolving a bit, and I'm having to learn how to be a pure CEO and help develop this company to a place where we can create new opportunities for existing team members, stretch into areas where it's close to what we do, close to our wheelhouse, and create more opportunities for our team. And I'm certainly now working a lot more on the business than in the business. Truthfully, not a big fan. I like working in the business. I think it's something I'm better suited for tactically, but that was until I hired a bunch of great leaders within our organization that admittedly are better at it than I am. So I want you to know that if I could have it my way, I'd be out there every single day saying hi. And it's an interesting concept, and I've said this before, kind of also tongue-in-cheek, like everybody wants to see me, but nobody wants to see me. You don't want me coming around. But I understand that it is important for me to get out there. So I appreciate your patience as I, make my way about the country to visit, the 400 plus and growing teammates that we have. So our lines of business. What does GXC do? Because to you, what you do is what GXC does, but there's so much around you and it's all interconnected. And I just want to kind of share that with everybody and let everybody understand what it is we do. So our protective security division, again, headed up by Jason Martinez, covers two core areas, government and commercial services. Our commercial side, Jason works with Mr. Chris Urbina, who is our contract manager for our Broadway team. And on Broadway, we have unarmed security officers who perform screening processes for patrons coming in and out of Broadway. Commercially, that is about the extent of where I want to go in the private sector in Broadway, and that contract being in the very, very capable and deserving hands of Chris Urbina. It's probably one of the best opportunities we have in terms of helping develop career pathways, and we'll talk about that here in a little bit. Also, in the Broadway theaters, we have an executive protection officer force, a lot of guys with a ton of military law enforcement experience and background that puts them, with the talent at the stage doors in the high-risk situations as they're armed, protecting, the folks that come in and out of there from a talent perspective. And great group of professionals there. So that's our commercial side. On our government side, we do a lot of work with the Federal Protective Service. The Federal Protective Service is a subcomponent within the Department of Homeland Security. They're responsible for protecting federal facilities all throughout the country. Over the last couple of years, we've won a bunch of opportunities to be able to perform protective security officer services for the Federal Protective Service. So we have the statewide contract in Delaware, headed up by Ms. Tara Barrett. We have our FPS contract right in our backyard in Brookhaven, New York. It's a big IRS facility headed up by Mr. Stephen Martinez. And then we have a couple subcontracts that we operate out of the Wabash facility in Baltimore. It's a big Social Security facility. And the U.S. Virgin Islands. We just started up the U.S. Virgin Islands contract in January. Wabash was in December. Brookhaven was in December. So a lot of new teammates coming on really fast. And we are actually slated to start services in Guam and Saipan, way out in the Pacific Ocean here in May. So really excited about that. Would love to maybe win something closer than Guam. It's a 24-hour flight that Mr. Matt Hempfling and I are getting ready to take at the end of April. So should be fun. The Federal Protective Service work is really where GXC will grow into that powerhouse of a company. Those contracts that we pursue, we're very well slated to be highly competitive across the country in these services. And it is what I project will take our company to 2,000 plus employees, probably within the next 3 to 5 years. Rapid growth. So yeah, that's our protective security division. And they make up a bulk of our employees. To be honest, there's nearly I want to say 300 pins or employees associated with just the protective security division alone. Our other operational components, the countermeasure division, as I said, headed up by Mr. Joshua George, and he works with two managers in that division. So we have field services, which is headed up by Mr. Shaylin Pitkin, and he is responsible for assigning and alongside two administrative resources, Ms. Shelley and Ms. Nicole, to get technicians to perform installations at a technical level for the manufacturer. Some of the customers that we service in that field are Amazon, FedEx, UPS, some of the biggest organizations in the world where our folks are going in and ensuring that American commerce, continues to be conducted as they are putting the weapons detection systems in place to prevent something from happening at those facilities. So we have a lot of responsibility there. Our technical operations team is headed up by a Mr. Chris Kruger, who just joined GXC here in December after the completion of an acquisition of ESCO Security Consulting. ESCO's been an industry leader in the metal detection and event consulting space for the better part of 2 decades. And Mr. Kevin Tayo, who's was the owner of ESCO, and I thought we come together, we could probably do some great things. And he brought a great group of people with him to to join our back office as well as our countermeasure technician base. So some of the events we protect, so what we're doing under the technical operations is we're providing weapons detection equipment and a level of consulting that's commensurate with whatever the needs are of the client. So we stick to queuing, throughput. We showed you the Indy 500 video. It's a good example of, for the more complex operations that we run, the type of evaluation we'll perform and making sure that a lot of people can get in and out of a venue very safely. ESCO has been working the Super Bowl again for the better part of 2 decades. So this year, our first massive event was the Super Bowl in New Orleans. Of course, that coming on the heels of what happened on New Year's in New Orleans with the vehicle ramming that took the lives of, I think, nearly a dozen plus people. So as we move forward with the NFL, we are working with them both domestically here in the U.S. as we are getting ready to perform for the draft, and then international events all across the world, from Brazil to Spain to Ireland, and so on and so forth as the NFL goes. Additionally, the Major League Baseball, Kevin and a team of 4 countermeasure technicians were just in Tokyo, Japan, helping place all the detectors for the preseason game that was just held maybe a week or so ago, and they just came back. And then that plus, countless music festivals for Live Nation, AEG, C3, some of the biggest entertainment companies in the world. So a lot of footprint for GXC and keeping a lot of people safe all across the country. And finally, our risk management / business office. I only use risk management because of how I defined it earlier, where our job is to provide sound recommendations for mitigating risks. And we use the CHEA technology, X-ray equipment, different types of countermeasures to help organizations overcome their weapons issues. Really proud of this line, as it's probably one of the more impactful we have, because a majority of our client base are large schools throughout the country. And while, of course, it is important to protect people in Broadway theaters, and it's important to protect people at races and football games and baseball games, these are children who don't have the means to protect themselves, for the most part, in areas where crime's high and the fear is even higher. And we have often been called by these organizations to make it better for them. So the business office team, the account management team, does a lot with schools, also service stadiums, large sporting venues, healthcare systems, and you name it. So we do a lot of weapons detection, integration, and X-ray weapon screening work throughout all of those verticals. So that's what we do in a nutshell. There's no one thing that we do better than the other. I know my leadership team, and I've met a lot of you all. Everyone's just great professionals in this organization, and it helps us do a better job at all of these things that I'm talking about. We're undergoing a massive change, and that's an understatement. 1 year ago, we were less than half the size that we are now. 1 year before that, we were half the size of that. And every year we have doubled in growth, and it puts a tremendous strain on everybody involved. I can't tell you that there is more of a strain on anyone when we do these types of digital transformations or payroll system changes. I know individually you all bear the brunt of, processes changing or payroll companies changing or insurances changing, but the back office team has to deal with all of it and every single one of you that has an issue. And one of the things I'm most proud of is I hear constantly from our teammates out in the field how wonderful our HR team is. Bree, Brittany, Lauren, our finance team, Liz, Brittany Johnson, Wendy, Jess, our administrative support in our business office, Allison McHenry, John Peck, our quality assurance person, Malcolm, our IT tech, all these folks that just really keep the backbone of this company strong. Incredibly proud of them and incredibly honored that they're on our team. That's not hyperbole. That's not something I have to say. The level of patience they have to get it right and the level of persistence they have to not stop until they figure it out, and how much they care when a vendor comes around and doesn't provide us what they said they were going to, and how much I watch them kind of get in their hind parts to make sure that they are giving our team what they said. It's really, they kind of keep things running around here. And like I tell them, you know, they don't exist without you all in the field. And when I say people are non-billable or they're not, you know, everybody complements each other. There are positions which do not generate revenue. There are positions which do. And oftentimes in a lot of organizations, you'll see a split there. You call the payroll folks, they don't pick up. You email HR, they never respond. And it just kind of eats at the fabric of an organization. That's what I've seen historically. I don't see that we have that here. To know that everybody is responsive is probably the best thing you could possibly say. You know, I challenge the entire team to operate with freakish responsiveness. Freakish responsiveness is answering so dang fast that somebody wonders if you're in their email box as they're typing it, right? Because every single one of you, when you're dealing with an issue, that's a priority for you. And if you don't get an answer right away, it could feel like you're not valued. It's not the case. I know they do very much work in an order of which it's first received mindset, and they stay after the issues. Nobody's perfect. Nobody's perfect. If you've been 5 minutes late, that's akin to, hey, I mishit a number on the keyboard with payroll, right? Like, there are varying degrees of errors and issues, and I love that the majority of us have enough patience and foresight to understand that nobody here is working to not help you. Everybody's moving in the same direction and trying to be helpful, right? And that's what keeps this organization strong. The patience and understanding on both sides, as well as the freakish responsiveness when somebody is in need. And that's what I'd like to see continue. And if that can happen, then I think, you know, we're going to be more than fine. Going to be more than fine. Over the last year, we have invested heavily in a system called Salesforce. And I know and understand completely that it is going to be a lot of change for some of you. On our protective security division side, we're pretty well entrenched in TrackTick, so you're not going to feel this for the most part. But our countermeasure division, our back office folks, our finance folks, all the business office folks, everybody is feeling the weight of that transformation. Nobody likes change. I understand that more than anybody. Nobody likes change. But this is a change that I know is going to help us become more efficient and help speed up that freakish responsiveness without having to overburden you on additional processes and tasks. It's centralizing everything. And it's up to us to, number one, give it a chance. Number two, be very vocal about the things that aren't working and what you feel must be done to make it better. So as we finish up the training, because Salesforce is, I mean, we're getting ready to go live in 1 week. And the way that we account for our technical operations, our field services, our account management, our CRM processes, that's all going to change. So I say to everybody, be patient. Be empathetic. An ounce of empathy is all you need to preserve a lot of goodwill. Okay? So to the technicians that are going to be facing this for the first time, the back office folks that are going to be using it for the first time, everybody please be patient. Because if there's one thing that I want you to be sure of, is if it's broken, I will pay to have it fixed. I am absolutely tied to no decision as the final way that we will ever do business. We're always going to change and we're always going to evolve over time. If we're not, we'll die. And that's the final point. I need everybody to understand that maturity in business process, maturity in digital transformation, all of these things are due because of how fast we've grown. By the end of 2027, I project we will be a 9-figure company. You cannot hold on to manual processes and how you were trained 2 or 3 years ago and expect that they'll hold true today when the volume and the size of the company is 300 to 400% bigger. And that's the way we approach most things. Change must happen. You don't have to change with it. I'd prefer you did. But if for some reason, if the change just isn't working for you, I ask that you respect yourself first and you respect your teammates who are enduring that change and doing their best to push through as well. Because all we have is each other when it comes to our work. I speak often about the honor that I truly genuinely feel is an honor that people choose to spend a good chunk of their working or waking hours working on our team, working alongside our team, helping serve our clients. It's not an easy thing to do. And the level at which we do it, I know it's a high bar. And if you feel the bar isn't high enough, and you feel like we're slacking, I ask that you point that out to me too, and watch me raise the bar. Watch our team raise the bar. I've yet to find anybody be told about something that's a problem and somebody just ignore it. That's another reason why we continue to grow the way we are. It's because nobody's satisfied with the status quo. But at the same, people have a problem with change. So when I say respect yourself, what I'm talking about is if you feel like your professional landscape or desires have shifted, don't hold yourself hostage here. Okay? If you want to be here, I want you to be here. If you don't want to be here, I want you to find something that will be better for you so you can have that fulfillment inside. That does not mean I want anybody leaving. That's not me saying like it or leave it or get the hell out. I genuinely mean I want you to do what's right for you and your family. That's it. If that's not with us, I don't get upset about it because I'm just happy that you have something that you can rely on to do better for your family and for you and for your professional career. Moving forward with these digital transformations, we're going to start moving towards a communication platform called WebEx. Trying to do away with all the Teams messaging and the Monday.com messaging and the emails and the text messages and the WhatsApp and the Slack and there's so many different ways we pass information that I don't even know how people keep up anymore. So over the next 5 years, my goal is to develop for anybody that's tied into our infrastructure, our IT systems, to have one sign-on. When you sign into work, you sign in one time. That's my goal. It's a very lofty goal. I'm not entirely sure I'll be able to get there, but I'll tell you what, I'm going to keep swinging until I do. I promise you I'll get as close as I possibly can. Because my theory of work, or what work is one that I want everybody to think about. I've found that most people hate where they work when they have to work to do their job. When you have to work to do your job, you have a very low likelihood of job satisfaction. Now, understanding everything can and should ideally flow, that's not the way things work. But one of the best ways to speed up that process is to be constructively communicating. What is it that is wrong? What is it that you want to be fixed? How might you recommend we do that? I have never been afraid to invest in this company and make it stronger. I've done it year after year after year. If you caught the end of the Indy 500 video, Angela was right. In 2019, we started with 15 metal detectors. 3 years later, we had 100. 2 years after that, we're nearly at, 500? 560? That's me investing in infrastructure to be able to create opportunities for people to earn. That creates jobs. Okay? I hear a lot about career development and training. And it's a very important thing for our organization to invest in that. I cannot possibly understate that enough. One of the other biggest complaints people have about their organization is that there is not an investment by the company in the betterment of the person. That is not the case here. And I'm going to go through a couple things that I want you all to consider. And I want you to know this, that it doesn't matter how much I pledge to invest. If you yourself do not take the opportunity and invest in yourself, there's nothing I can actually do for you. It has to be a mutual relationship when it comes to investing in your career. Your part, in my mind, is very doable. Focus on it. Know what you want. Clearly define it. And we can help you along that journey. We've invested money, time in a lot of folks who want to develop. But then there are also folks who are entitled to that development that never use it. So if you're putting in the effort, we're putting up the resources. Okay? Those two, the effort plus the opportunity, is going to help you develop. So a couple things that we're doing for career development. Over the last 6 to 8 months, our quality control manager, John Peck, has been putting together a system called ProProfs. That is our learning management system and our training system that we are using to help provide different levels of study, courses. I mean, just all types of different things. We have the lawfully mandated stuff like the sexual harassment training, which we have to do, and it's out of the state of New York. And that New York training's a bit unique, but that training has to be done. That's like lawfully mandated. The rest of it are things that we're putting together to help you sharpen your sword. Whether you're a countermeasure technician, a security officer, protective security officer, armed, unarmed, administrative person, there's tons of resources that we're loading in there. And I think we're just going to open the gates and let it flood out. I got to talk to John a little bit more about that to make sure that everybody has access to what it is they would like to see. But in that same token, if there's a class you would like that's not in there that we could put together, email info@gxc-inc.com. Tell us what the course is. Tell us where we could find it if you know it exists. And we could add it to the portfolio for people to select. And that's what I mean where it's a dual effort. If we're not meeting the mark with the information and the opportunities that we're providing, all you have to do is let us know and then give us something to work with, and we'll put it in play. So ProProfs is step one. Whenever there are opportunities in the company for hiring, we not only go out and we announce it to the world. Before we do that, we post it internally. Nobody should be stuck in what they're doing. If you want to do something else and you have the opportunity to apply for it, do it. Where it gets difficult is if you don't have anything that you've been doing or working with to put you on that path to being competitive for it. That's something I'm going to struggle to help you with, right? So there's a certain degree of, hey, does this opportunity match up with something I'm prepared to seize? So for example, I can't expect that I'm trying to think of a really obscure one here. I can't expect that a protective security officer who has a law enforcement background, military background, all of a sudden apply for an HR director position with no HR experience. Sure, is that an opportunity to promote? Yes, but the development happens in between now and when we post that job. So what I've heard before is, hey, I see these jobs that get posted, but I stand no shot. Well, at that moment, but attrition is a thing, right? People come, people go. People progress in their career, people retire. If there's something you're interested in doing, create an individual development plan for yourself and we can take a look at it and try to help you along that path. But we are not going to be able to just create different positions for people to cater to something that they do. I do have to respect the needs of the company. So just consider that. What you're doing in terms of development is just as important as the opportunities we provide. One of the ones that was a question, I'm going to bring it into the fold now, because nearly 1/4 of our entire workforce is on the Broadway contract. So I was asked, is there a pathway for someone who has started unarmed to become an armed officer? And Jason, Kelsey, Chris, the team have responded wonderfully, putting together the framework of a program that will help give officers a pathway from unarmed to armed. But what you have to remember, this is the most important part of it. It goes this way for every single opportunity under the sun. Just going to speak it how it is here, okay? If you're late, if you don't show up as prescribed, right? If you're not completing the trainings, if you're not working on making yourself more well-rounded, well, then you're not going to be able to become a site lead. Right? And if you're a site lead and you're not getting armed and you're not promoting yourself, via professional development and seeking out the classes that we've identified, it's going to be more difficult for you to then graduate into the armed role, into a field training program, into a program that the team's putting together to give you all that pathway. So it will be an even exchange. You are guaranteed and you are entitled to nothing. You get every single thing you earn. I can't do it for you, but we will, as a team, create those pathways. That might sound harsh, but it's what I need you all to know, because I get brought to the side and asked these questions, and I'm going to say the same thing. Are you doing everything you possibly can to seize that opportunity when it opens up? If you are, excellent. Then you're going to crush it. But I can't do it for you. I can't make you show up on time. I can't make you show up in uniform. I can't make you attend every single one of your field training sessions. I can't make you take the licensing course. I can't do that. Okay? But we'll provide the gateway. Our countermeasure technicians. The track for a countermeasure technician has a couple different opportunities. And our field service manager, Shaylin Pitkins, putting together a wonderful career progression map that covers down on every single aspect of your countermeasure responsibilities, and will have you promote through countermeasure technician levels. That's promotion opportunity. That's potential for growth. And then from there, there's a good chance you can jump into the business office. If you understand the technology like that, and you've done those trainings and you've delivered those courses to our customers and our clients, and you understand the criteria as we put it forward to a customer, why couldn't you help facilitate that transaction and put yourself into a different realm, on a different track? You can. But there are prerequisite steps to excellence and to development. And the point of this is we're creating them. And those opportunities, we post them. They're there. If you want it, I want you to seize it. If you're looking for guidance, I know every single one of our contract managers, from Chris to Tara to Steven to Jason to Kelsey in the back office, you speak to any of them, I know they'll give you your time. They'll give you their time, which is the best thing somebody can invest in you. Okay? Engage them if you don't have a plan, and they'll probably help you make one. But then you got to action it. You got to put it into play, and you'll be able to seize opportunities. It goes the same for the countermeasure team. If you want to know what you could work on for development, just ask. For our back office administrative side, it's dang near a mandate. You must do something to develop yourself. And you got to think about it like this. I know it's not for everybody, right? We have such a range of teammates here in this company. Some folks are, finished with their law enforcement career, and they're not looking for any type of career development. Some people have, spent a career in the military and, in the security and protection world, and they're looking to keep it calm, keep it cool, and pick up a little spare change here and there, right? There's so many different folks that this applies to, but by and large, this is one of the most consistent questions I get asked. It's about development. Seize it. Take every opportunity. I want that for you. I do. I want to move into some of the questions that we'd received. With respect to everybody and their wage and their income and how it all works, I'm not going to answer any questions as they relate to pay. I know and understand why that's important, but if there is an update regarding your pay, you should hear from your supervisor here in short order, okay? But we have a lot of collective bargaining agreement folks whose wages are determined by their collective bargaining agreement. We have a lot of folks who are subject to prevailing wages, which is set by the Fair Labor Standards Act. And then the rest of the folks that we have on our team, I use market research to establish that position's wage. And we typically go above by a percentile to help keep people earning competitively in the industry. We've not been shy about the strategy we use to keep people well paid. We do every single thing we possibly can. Okay? So I'm going to stay away from pay, but I'll just leave you with that. And if you have questions about your pay, you should speak to your supervisor directly. The first question that we had here is from the countermeasures division. Can the technicians be contacted prior to their flights being booked to ascertain if they'd prefer driving? The way our team moves nationally whenever it involves long distance travel is one that is tied to the most likely or to be effective method of travel. And there's an actual formula we use for that, okay? Anytime somebody is driving, flying, whatnot, they're entitled, or not entitled, but we pay them, okay? If it costs more in mileage that we owe you as in accordance with the IRS's mileage rate, your wages, if those two cost more than the time and the flight and the bag, then we will not, because we do have to be fiscally responsible. And typically, where you get into that offset of one costing more than the other, it relates to something that's a bit more long range, something that is a farther travel. I think we will do a better job on that moving forward, especially with the move to Salesforce, having these opportunities kind of forecast and streamlined a bit. If driving's a better option and it works financially, you'll drive. If flying's a better option and it works financially, you'll fly. Okay. Second, can the technicians be provided first class, more comfort, or exit row seats when we fly? Everything first class, dang. It's all budget specific. So we, like all companies, have a general administrative and an overhead cost associated with doing the work. Insurances, taxes, uniforms, equipment, you name it. It all falls into that. If we have a better budget, then we can do better for the travel. I'd recommend people are using their own personal rewards systems. Like if you fly Delta, if you have a Delta number, use your Delta number. That way you can get free upgrades and things like that. If we can afford it, then yes, we could talk to the team about making sure, and by afford it, I mean under the budget, we could talk to the teams about looking for those opportunities. Next question. This is for me. Given that our organization is spread across the U.S. with many employees working remotely and others, like technicians, not regularly participating in company meetings, how can we ensure that everyone feels valued and appreciated for their contributions? Are there plans to implement company-wide initiatives such as email spotlights or recognition on the company website to celebrate achievements and foster a sense of connection across all teams? Yes. So I am moving forward with something we call employee obsession or teammate obsession. I don't like the term employee. We do a lot of things here that I think contribute directly to that obsession. And will continue to. I think the town halls are a good way to spread information. I am looking to find someone for social media to help me on a per diem or part-time basis to highlight more on social media. We don't do a lot on social media, and that's a shame because we do a lot of impressive work. You all do a lot of impressive work. I do know that we have a robust rewards platform. I'll shout out Reggie Delmar, just received our Iron Chin Award. Reggie took down a very hostile person who was assaulting folks, and he quite literally took it on the chin, but stood his ground, did his job, and we gave him a nice coin, a plaque, and a gift card. Right? We do acknowledge when folks go above and beyond, and I've said this before: showing up, get your paycheck. Right? Answering the bell the appropriate way, responsibly and all that gets you more. And we've not been shy about issuing awards at all. We have our Mental Health and Substance Abuse Month coming up in May, where we have a budget set aside to allow everybody to have access to different mental health resources and substance abuse resources because we care about your well-being. The very profession that we find ourselves in is a very tight relationship with mental health and substance abuse because sometimes the horrors and the downsides of our positions put us in really precarious positions. Right? And I feel a personal responsibility to provide whatever resources I can to help with that. If it's something we can do, we will. With this new payroll system, we were supposed to have an employee landing page where we took this type of information, spotlights, recognition, achievements, on that homepage, but that payroll company has not completed that page yet. I do know my executive assistant, Angela Washington, is putting together a SharePoint that we're going to share with all the employees where they can access a lot of information about the company, and it's going to be kind of driven in this way. Eventually, and it's just fair warning, eventually I think there's no way we don't end up on a system like ADP. A bigger, more robust payroll and HR platform, and I know ADP's kind of mastered that employee spotlight page, and that landing splash page, that they provide. So not anytime soon. Don't worry, we're not doing that again. Not doing that anytime soon, but I want you to know that it is always something that I am looking to seize on, which is making our folks realize how important they are. Human resources, please define the 4-hour call-out rule and what is and is not covered under that. Is it in all states or just in New York? So there's a couple different answers to this. If you are working on one of our federal contracts and you find yourself governed by a collective bargaining agreement, the CBA will dictate exactly what a call-out rule is. So if you've not read the collective bargaining agreement, please get with your local shop steward and make sure that they're giving that to you so you can read it and have a very clear definition of what that call-out rule is and how it relates to you. If you work on our commercial side, the 4-hour call-out rule is the nature of our job, again, is to protect people. If we have somebody that calls out inside of 4 hours, it becomes increasingly difficult to fill that post in a quick manner here, right? So we try to put a cap on, hey, don't call out inside of 4 hours because now we might have an open post, which means your teammates are left understaffed, right? Hopefully we can get someone there. And unpopular opinion, but there are some people in this world that don't care to consider folks that they answer the bell with, and they only consider themselves. I'm not saying we have them on their team, on our team. I'm saying this rule exists for those people in case they ever come here. Most people, barring an emergency, which of course would enter into exigent circumstances, which would allow a decent bit of leeway, if you're calling out last minute, you're leaving someone in the lurch. And most people know before 4 hours whether or not they're going to be able to get to work. Again, absent a 4 hour, absent a last second emergency that you couldn't account for. So that's just a way that we kind of reinforce that respectability and foster that trust among teammates. Okay. It occurred to me that this may also be someone looking for an explanation on the 4-hour call-in rule. So New York State, there's actually no law that says you must provide someone 4 hours. It's something that's recommended, so it's something we do, and it originates in New York, but I extend it to the country and anybody working anywhere. Now again, if you're under a collective bargaining agreement, you have a totally different set of circumstances. So this does not pertain to you. If you are under a collective bargaining agreement, what I'm about to say does not supersede your collective bargaining agreement. You must look at your CBA. Okay? If you're not covered by a collective bargaining agreement, this is for you. And we see it a lot with our technicians. We see it with our officers from time to time. If a client has a request, let's give the security officer example. If a security officer, if they're looking for services for 2 hours or an hour, which we've had it, can you provide somebody for an hour? No, I could provide them for 4. Well, why? I only need them for an hour. Because who the heck is going to leave their home for an hour's of pay? By the time they're done paying the cost of fuel, tolls, train fare, bus, whatever it is, they just literally came to work for free to feed it right back to the government, New York City, that mismanages the mass transit system and the funds associated with it anyway. I wouldn't go, so I don't expect our team would go, which is why you have to make a minimum. And we tell the client, if you want our folks, I don't care if it's for a minute, if somebody's reporting, you're going to pay them for 4 hours. For the countermeasure technicians, if you find yourself, doing a quick, if you've got a local job here in Long Island and you're running to a William Floyd school district to just check on an open gate real quick and it takes you an hour, well, again, you had to leave your family, you had to leave your home, you weren't on already, right? So make sure the juices work the squeeze type of thing. And for the technical operations, if you find yourself overseeing a rental opportunity and client needs something fixed and they didn't want to pay for the on-site, so you're kind of hanging, and now all of a sudden they need your help, well, now they got to pay you. So that's a protection. That's a protection to make sure people aren't taking advantage of you. Okay? Will there ever be vacation pay for guards? So this falls into that wage category. Again, if you are in a collective bargaining agreement, this does not apply to you. This applies to your anyone that's not protected by a collective bargaining agreement. We do provide our security officers with leave. Whoever that is, I ask that you reach out to your supervisor and ask them about the leave that you're accruing. Because that will be important. And I think that ties into the second question here about vacation. When will it be made available on the pay stubs? We are constantly working with this new payroll company to make sure they add that on there. It's supposed to be on there, so very soon. That is not something that we're just not going to do. It's supposed to be on there. We want it on there, and they're working on it. And our CFO is beating the brakes off those folks pretty regularly, as is our finance director and our HR director. Could you please briefly speak on promoting from within an opportunity to grow within GXC? It's going to be there. I kind of led on to a little bit of earlier. It's going to be there for you. You have to seize the opportunity when it comes up. And in order to do that, you have to prepare. I cannot walk up and bestow upon you massive opportunity and wealth and riches. That's not how this country was built. We provide the opportunity, you provide the effort. Those two things time up and line up perfectly, you're going to find yourself developing and growing. If you don't believe me, ask anybody that already has, because that happens quite a bit here. Protective security. Can a protective security officer with no law enforcement background but with a proper New York armed guard training and in possession of concealed carry permit and armed security license work with GXC? Yes, of course you can. I'm going to leave it to Jason Martinez to kind of finish up this program and put this out to you all. But I can tell you, based on what I know about it, there's not another company that is doing what we're getting ready to attempt. And that if you do your part and you follow this program every step of the way, and don't let me get you too excited without telling you there's going to be some damn work behind it. Because the folks that carry armed for us, the majority of them, by and large, have had law enforcement careers, military careers, but that doesn't mean you don't have potential. That doesn't mean you don't have the opportunity. I'm saying the nature of that industry, armed work, is one that is highly professionalized. A lot of training. A very high bar for performance. Because you're carrying a deadly weapon. And I know what happens, right? Folks look at the money. Why folks talk about their paycheck with others so freely is one of the most mind-numbing things to me. But God bless you all. But everyone sees the pay. But nobody sees how the pay became what the pay is. That's buried in that 20-year law enforcement career, that 25-year military career, all of that. So to get to that point, if you don't have that, historically, most organizations will say, nah, not worth it because I can go find a cop. I can go find a military guy or gal. I want to see folks develop from within. I want to. I have every reason to. But when this program comes out, there's going to be two types of people. Okay? There's going to be the person that looks at the program and is like, nah, I don't know if I got time to do that. And then which I would ask, you don't have time to look out for you? We have time to look out for you, which is why we created the program. And then there's going to be the other people that look at it and say, bet. I know what I'm doing. I know what I'm willing to endure. I want it that badly. I know how I'm willing to close that gap. I know how I'm willing to make myself more competitive. The great thing about this is there's only two options. Kind of simplifies things a bit. What cities are working GXC? What cities are, what cities are working GXC, and what are the steps to do a transfer? I kind of laid out exactly where we are. We have offices all over the country. Your skill set has to translate to the position, of course, that you're looking to transfer into. If you are a federal protective security officer, fortunately, the statement of work across all those contracts are pretty consistent. So whether it's Long Island, New York, Delaware, Baltimore, Maryland, U.S. Virgin Islands, Guam, Saipan, and I mean, there's a lot more coming. I am hoping to be able to capitalize on the Long Island contract, the Queens, Brooklyn, Staten Island. I want it all. I'd love to be able to protect, closer to home. We have bids out on Connecticut, Rhode Island, Massachusetts, New Hampshire, Vermont, Maine, Southern New Jersey, New York City, Kentucky, IRS facility in Massachusetts. I mean, we have opportunities out all over the place, and we're uniquely positioned to pick a couple of them up. So as those positions get posted on our website, get on there, take a look at them. If your skill set will translate, we'd love to have you. For countermeasure technicians, we just released a PIN matrix. And what that means is where the locations of positions are throughout the entire country. If you want to do a transfer, then I would speak with your division director there to kind of meet that out. The steps aren't the same for everybody, is basically what I'm getting at. You should speak directly with your supervisor, and we can kind of look at them on a case-by-case basis, but no promises. Okay. Technicians shouldn't have to travel all day, work all day, be up all night trying to complete paperwork. There needs to be a better and more efficient way because this is very discouraging. Okay. That's a lot of general concerns. Whoever asked that question, I'd like you to email me directly, copying Joshua George, on some instances of those days so we can look into what happened and kind of seize on that. Because that if this is somebody's perspective of what their work is, that's not good. Because that's not what we're going for. For the countermeasure technicians, you're supposed to complete the paperwork before you leave site. If you can't get a signature, understood, right? We communicate that back to CHEA. I don't expect you all to have to stay there all day waiting for somebody to sign it. But not for nothing, if you're flying, we're paying you to fly. Complete it on the plane. If you have to drive, just complete it before you leave the site. There's ways to meet this out, and I wanna talk through this because I want to make sure that what you're talking about here is solvable, and I think it is. So I need more substance. So whoever that is, I'm asking you to shoot me an email so I can work through this with you, with the team, and make sure that this isn't the experience that everybody's having. Because if it is, then we have to rip down the wall and rebuild here. Because that's not historically what I've seen come back from the countermeasure technicians. I was just reminded by somebody that's tuned in. There's also, again, there's travel on the front side there. All of the information for your installations is accessible to you through Monday.com and then also through Salesforce here in the future. Prepare your paperwork. Do some work ahead of time. Again, I think this is something we can solve pretty easily so that you're not having this experience because it sounds horrible, to be honest with you. It sounds really bad. So I'm looking forward to hearing from whoever this person is. We'll keep it confidential and we'll work internally to make sure that this gets turned around. If anybody else is having that problem, please let me know. All right. Well, that's an hour. That's an hour. I thank everybody for being here, everybody for showing up, sticking around. I hope this was helpful. If you have any other questions, please keep them coming. We're going to do this again in June. We're going to do March, June, September, December. Keep this quarterly. Keep you all informed as much as possible. And we don't exist without you, right? So keep the information flowing. Keep it constructive. Keep it positive. And we'll figure it out. Okay? If it's not perfect, we'll figure it out. So thank you so much for your time. Appreciate you all. Everybody be well, be safe, and I'll see you out there as soon as I possibly can. Alrighty? Take care. Bye-bye.